Well, it is heartbreaking what has happened to this community, but right now we had people sifting through their debris, the rubble of their homes. Many of the homes have been flattened. So you had people returning to this area beginning around 9 and 10 this morning after the sun came up to see if there was anything left. Now we have those people, but also volunteers have started to pour into the city. You can see how congested it is behind me at one of the main intersections in town. I'm right across from the city hall and the police department, and here's an example of volunteers right now. They're securing the windows and all that broken glass. They're putting up plyboard on the police department in City Hall. You have people coming in from Paducah that are bringing food and clothes and blankets. One thing I will tell you right now is from the time that I got here at 3:30 a.m. until now, the temperature has dropped about 20 degrees. It is cold now as people are without power. Obviously, the entire town is shut off from that. There are some people who were trying to stay in their homes throughout the morning because they didn't have anywhere else to go. It is still an incredibly dangerous situation, a dynamic situation. Thankfully, we have been finding and meeting those people, the survivor stories of miraculously surviving this horrific tornado. I'm going to introduce you to two men who survived even though their homes do not have basements. 2 hours before dawn, the vehicles appeared first. Totaled.
Them's all buildings that's no longer there.
Then the homes, or where homes used to be. How many? It's hard to count.
There's so many that is leveled that I just really don't know how many was there to begin with.
Fire department.
Joseph Seidel and Chris Travis are members of Cuba Fire and Rescue. It's a blink and you'll miss it town. But early Saturday morning,
let's check on right over here.
They're going door to door, missing nothing.
I just want to check on you. I know you having the oxygen stuff earlier.
Connie Sumner, you're okay here in the dark though?
Sure.
Is uninjured.
I'm not scared.
Even after a catastrophic tornado blew out all of her glass windows and leveled many of the homes across the street. Travis and Seidel keep moving
to the other end of this block to check the rest of these houses. Go in, try to make sure there ain't nobody trapped inside or work. Fire department!
Every available firefighter.
Anyone? No, we're down there.
Rush to Mayfield, no questions asked, jumping into crumbling homes to be certain no one is left behind.
I think for the most part, we've got this block pretty well cleared.
Soon enough, the sun will be up, and there will be no illusion.
Just one block. There's a lot to go. We've been out here since about 9 o'clock last night.
This is a disaster. By 9 a.m.,
several people lived over there on this side of the park.
The water was already going down.
Well, I see my shop up there, but I can't get to it.
Taking a lot of Clay City with it.
That's Red River that comes around here, and evidently it's taken a shortcut. It just filled up.
Yeah, let's see.
A shortcut.
I don't know how well we can do this.
Right through Marion Harrison's yard.
Oh, yeah, it's dropped quite a bit.
But not before filling up his mobile home.
Furniture's gone. Yeah, we've lost all of it. There ain't no saving nothing.
It's Harrison's first look at his belongings after evacuating Monday night. The Red River was unrelenting.
That was a good Suburban. I was on Swiftwater Rescue for 16 years, and I've never seen water blow out like that.
It's the worst he's seen in his 10 years in Powell County.
10 years as of last month.
Wendell Hurt remembers 1978.
It was bad, but it wasn't this bad. I don't think it was anything like this.
But says it doesn't compare.
Golly.
With as much as the river took.
This is unbelievable. I couldn't believe how fast the water came up.
Marion Harrison says it didn't take everything.
At least we all survived. Nobody lost their life. That was...
In Clay City, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News. On one of the coldest mornings in months, only a few hours remained for Ray and his wife Rachel to remove what few belongings they have.
I like being out here. It's a real freedom. I do what I want, when I want, and how I want.
However, it was a decision by the city that has this couple on the move today. A 72-hour notice to vacate was posted Monday. Ray says he could afford an apartment if he wanted.
I don't have bills. I have to purchase
And chooses not to.
narcotics. That's about the only thing I have to pay for, and half the time I ain't got to pay for that. Because people are just quick just to hand it out.
In fact, his greatest challenge of the day will be moving his larger items to a different site closer to the river. It may appear bleak, but Ray disagrees.
Just because we live in tents, have tattoos, and get high sometimes, doesn't make us any different or any worse than anybody else. We're just the same as they are. They do well to remember that.
Shortly after 12 p.m., Ray pulled his belongings across Market. And Public Works began clearing the camp.
I don't know why the city thinks they're doing anybody any favors about doing this, because we aren't really bothering anybody. Like, we had our wall up and we stayed behind it and we minded our own business.
In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News. Blinds help keep out the sharp afternoon sun, so Mark Pence can focus.
The focus should really just be on figuring out what the source of the problem is and attacking the source.
He also doesn't need the constant reminder of what happened right outside his living room window.
I think a lot of us is still trying to process.
On September 22nd, 3 teenagers were shot while waiting for their school bus in an apparent drive-by shooting. 16-year-old Tyree Smith was killed.
You know what I'm saying? That little boy didn't wake up this morning knowing he was going to get killed on the bus stop.
Pence was there and helped one of the survivors as children ran for their lives.
I literally had to hold his wound, hold his shoulder so he didn't bleed out.
In the days since,
Community's been a little bit more together in some aspects.
the barber has been giving free haircuts to the same neighborhood kids. Across the street, another organization has been driving children to and from school.
I definitely want to give a shout out to Cassandra Gray and her therapy services that's being offered here in the neighborhood for these people directly on the block, because it happened in front of her building. So
No arrest yet, but Pence believes that day will come. So at the moment, his focus isn't on the criminal, it's on the families affected.
these kids are really dying. These families are really in need of mental health services, all kinds of services that were being, in my eyes, withheld or kept from us.
The reality is, something terrible happened right outside Mark Pence's door. And that's why it's so clear to him. He wants to make a difference exactly where he stands.
And that's what we need. We don't need outrage. We don't need a bunch of people screaming and hollering. We need people just getting on the ground and doing the work.
In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News.